Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Rays, and today we finally get a look behind the curtain into War of the Visions. I am, of course, talking about the new Gummy Game, which is basically, now that we've seen a little bit of it, is essentially Alchemist Code. There really isn't much else to say about this game. This game very much looks like it is essentially Alchemist Code. And there are still some questions to be had, like, first of all, will this be a character-based gacha? Will it be a weapon-based gacha? Will it be a gacha of some other kind? We know it'll be a gacha, and I do believe that Alchemist Code is somewhat of both. There's characters and there are essentially super TMRs. So it'll be interesting to see exactly where it falls in, but with E3 apparently comes many good things, and Square Enix still hasn't even had its press conference yet, so we're getting stuff out of the way at this point, and War of the Visions was one of those things today. The other thing, of course, being the Final Fantasy VII pre-trailer, as well as a release date for that, and that is super hyped. So maybe it's just because I am in such a good mood with so much cool stuff being announced. You know, it is Christmas time for gamers. Weird sounds coming from outside. It's fine. Yeah, looking at War of the Visions does have a couple of interesting things in the trailer that are worth noting. The 4 houses plus the church. But also it turns out that there are some characters that pop in here, or at least look enough like Brave Exvius characters, that there is going to be a very deep connection. For those who aren't aware, War of the Visions does take place in the same universe as Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. As a matter of fact, it seems to be some question about the time period, whether it's, you know, very early or if it happens at the same time as Brave Exvius. I don't think we'll find out about this, probably. Best to keep it vague. I think marketing-wise and making a product, it makes a lot more sense to have this thing being slightly separate so that, you know, you can potentially convince people who are upset with Brave Exvius to maybe play this game. And so yeah, for right now on the JP side, you are able to pre-register. Pre-registering gets a couple of things that should be noted. So it should be noted that it's only on the JP side right now. It is not available yet on... I don't believe it's available yet on iOS or Android. Let me take a double check on that. That's the wrong web page. There it is. Go back to the top. Yeah, App Store is still coming soon, but Amazon is available right now, as well as Google Play. Signing up will unlock certain amount of benefits for people. The big thing notable is the 50K or 500K signups will unlock Ishtola, and not just any Ishtola from Shadowbringers, which also makes me think that Brave Exvius on the JP side will be running a Final Fantasy XIV event next month if this is coming out, or maybe it'll be a little bit closer. War of the Visions doesn't have a release date yet, but we are getting a look into how the game will essentially function, and it looks like tactics. And I think that's what a lot of people wanted. A lot of people do love tactics, and I love tactics too. On the original PlayStation, the tactics game is still good. It still holds up to this date. But for 400,000 people, I believe it's Siren will become a summon in the game, which is kind of a weird thing to hold out on for people, of being like, hey, yeah, if you do this, we get enough people to sign up, you get a summon. So if 400,000 people don't show up or don't pre-register, do we just not get Siren ever? Like, is she just gone? All the concept, all the work on her? It seems a little bit like a weak bluff. Maybe it's just the summon comes early or something. I don't really know. But given the fact that probably a lot of work was put into her CG animation and everything, I very much doubt that it's not going to be. But it does, like, looking at the rewards for basically 100,000 pre-registrations, 200,000, 300,000, there really isn't a surprising, like, it's like a weapon, some gems, you know, the currency in the game, like gill snappers, and I'm not even joking, the artwork is literally gill snappers. Even Y'shtola kind of makes some sense that they would be hoarding this over people. It does make me wonder about the release date, since they're at this moment of recording, there is no release date. But just like being like, oh yeah, if you want the summon, get a lot of signups. Really? Okay, alright. But the other thing that makes me a little bit concerned about this is summons are not something you get in the game. I'm wondering if summons will be gotchas to some extent, or whether, you know, characters are going to be gotchas. I think it's pretty obvious that characters will be gotchas at some point, but Y'shtola, pretty happy to see that she will be in the game. And I just want to see if I can't zoom in a little bit. Going back to here for a second, you may have caught some artwork. At one point, I do believe that it is, if I can just get it to stop at the right time. Yeah, the Holy Church, blah, blah, blah. Not there, not there, not there. But I do believe somebody has caught Medina showing up in this, which is pretty interesting, the idea that Brave Exvius characters will show up in some extent, because I don't hate Brave Exvius characters. I think that they are fine. The artwork itself does look pretty Alchemist Code and not so much Brave Exvius or Final Fantasy. It does feel like it is a more of a skin, but who knows? It could be that it's really interesting and really good at some point. Yeah, going back there for a second. There it is. And let's just break it down a little bit slower. Or let's just go incredibly slow. You'll notice that the that looks like characters do have animations. Probably Gummy. Not Alum on this one. It's totally Gummy, and they're not the same company. Anyway. Joke. Right here, you can see someone who very much looks like Iock. And Iock, famous healer from Brave Exvius, which does make me question about what time period this is. But the other thing is that in terms of visions can be anything. If you look at Brave Exvius, tons of characters that you get out of the gacha don't exist in the actual world, albeit through, you know, other Final Fantasy characters, or a lot of the Brave Exvius characters themselves are dead. Spoilers, hate to break it to you, but a lot of characters in the gacha are dead. But I'm not really giving spoilers because I'm not telling exactly who. So Iock shows up in the trailer, as well as coming up in a second here. Basically Medina. That is, whoa. Don't supersize it. But yeah, the multi-elemental and everything with a mage in blue, more than likely Medina, and I would expect them to reuse certain character designs, because character design, there's only so much you can do with it, I guess. We also get to see summon animations, which isn't surprising. I was expecting to see summons in the game. What is surprising is that they are just, well, kind of surprising is they are straight Brave Exvius in terms of not only their design, but also their animations too. They feel very, very similar, yet slightly updated versions of Brave Exvius. I'm very curious if they will use these in Brave Exvius at all, because animation can be expensive sometimes, kids. So currently, like, my general impression is that, well, I mean, if you're looking for a tactics game on the go, this is going to probably be your best chance for a Final Fantasy Tactics game. It will still, you are still dealing with Gummy, and that is a big distinction here. It is also interesting that they're only talking about the JP version so far. They haven't brought up the North American version, which could mean that, once again, just like the original Brave Exvius, we will just see a Japanese rollout first with a North American global release later. So, I mean, at this point, I don't really quite know how to feel. I think the game looks fine. I'm not opposed to the art style or for the art style, but there is still quite a few questions. One, when is this releasing? Two, what does the gacha look like? How friendly or unfriendly, should I say, is the gacha? Because if we're going back to 1% rates and everything, that'll be a little difficult to swallow. But yeah, the idea of a new tactics-based game, let's put it this way, even if I do end up playing it, I'm sure as hell not spending a dime on it, so long as Gummy or Alum is remotely attached to it. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, hopefully we'll hear more about it at E3, because I do have a lot of questions when it comes to this game. War of the Visions, if nothing else, should be interesting to see what happens. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.